Hey everyone, this is Zachary again, Master Christian Mentor, and I want to say it has been quite a while. I do apologize for the delay. Hope everyone is staying warm in all of this cold weather that we're experiencing. And so what I wanted to do, being that it's cold and being that it's flu season and viruses and a lot of people are sick and so forth, this is a perfect time to share with you about ailments and diseases and such and illnesses and how that relates back to the emotional guidance scale. So first of all is when we think of colds or we think of illnesses such as a stomach virus or something, immediately we associate that with a physical property. Well, that was something physical, okay? How did how did it manifest? How did that happen? And so, perfect example would be a cold, a virus. Oh, I caught something. I contracted something. It was a virus. It was bacteria, okay? One has to ask themselves, okay, if I'm a deliberate creator, and this is a vibrational universe, then I have to assume the responsibility of creating the virus or creating the illness. I can't just catch something. So I wanted to refer back to this long list here. Now this list is even longer, but this is a lot of the illnesses and a lot of the aches and a lot of the issues that a lot of people have overall in society. Such as acne, bad breath, you hear about blood pressure, diabetes, so forth, dizziness, food poisoning, all of that. Okay? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to run over this, and we wanted to talk about the spiritual, the metaphysical, the basis of what causes all of these issues, all of these ailments and illnesses, okay? And relate that back to, you guessed it, the emotional guidance scale, okay? What we talked about in previous videos. So, without further ado, first of all, something that we all experience, right, is aches. Aches. What is the metaphysical, the spiritual, if you will, root cause of aches and pains, things like that? Longing for love. We wouldn't even think about it, right? You're sitting there having an ache or a pain or a sharp pain or something like that, or an ache in your hip or side, and the last thing you're going to be thinking about is, well, I'm longing for a relationship. I'm longing for a partner. But you see, you can't disassociate it from the emotional guidance scale, right? I hope this really brings a lot to light and really provides a lot of clarity for everyone. So the next thing is, we'll run right down the list. Acne, self-acceptance. Think about it. If you don't accept yourself and love yourself, find that self-worthiness, then you can manifest acne. Okay? Next thing is anxiety. Not trusting the flow of life. When we, and I've talked about this even on the previous video, when we get into the flow of life, the river that flows. Remember, I had it up here on the previous video, and basically we were talking about don't go against the river of life, the flow, the natural flow of life, okay? Don't create resistance in your path, and then you won't manifest anxiety, okay? All right? The next thing is bad breath, anger, and revengeful thoughts. So you see, guys, you cannot be in anger and not expect to manifest something like bad breath. How? And then it behooves the mind to think, well, my words have an effect on my breath? Yes. You're manifesting bad breath through negative emotion coming from negative words. Blood pressure. Unsolved emotional problem. That's why we have to begin to utilize our guidance and move up that emotional guidance scale. Remember, you can't be in all of those low vibrations and expect to live a wonderful life. Okay? So, blood pressure, big thing in society. We hear it all the time. Okay? The next thing is cancer. Okay? Deep hurt, carrying hatreds. Guys, if you have like an ex-relationship, or you have something, some type of conflict with someone, you want to make sure that you do not harbor hatreds against someone. It will manifest into a disease such as cancer. Okay? Colds, mental confusion. Something I was experiencing. I've got a lot of things going on. I'm traveling right now. Mental confusion. And, a cold will sort of hit you like a ton of bricks right out the blue. But it is a representation, a manifestation of mental confusion. Confusion. Remember, all lower vibrations in the based in fear, right? So the next one is diabetes. Okay? We hear about that all the time. Somebody in our family has it, right? Longing for what might have been. If you're stuck in the past, if there's resentment, if there's ridicule, if there's an inability to follow the flow of life, then you are going to manifest a disease such as diabetes, or something to the equivalent. The next one is dizziness, scattered thinking. You're coming home and you walk through the front door and you become dizzy. And you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, what have I got? Oh my gosh, what's going on with me? And you get all flustered and anxious and fearful and so forth. It's just scattered thinking. We, as deliberate creators, even as creators by default who do not even understand this information, we have to begin to focus our thinking in the direction of our desires and follow our guidance, right? The next thing is food poisoning, where you would never associate food poisoning, with allowing others to take control. If you allow others to take control, you can manifest getting sick from food poisoning, rather. Next one is headaches. We all endure headaches. And one would ask themselves, the first thing is Tylenol or ibuprofen, right? Give me some type of headache medicine right away. And basically it's self-criticism. It's a manifestation of self-criticism. It goes back to not feeling worthy. You're not good enough. You're an idiot. You can't figure things out. Guys, you have to understand that your guidance is letting you know when you are self-criticizing, okay, criticizing yourself, that you're moving in the wrong direction. And you're going to manifest something such as a headache. Okay, that's not as bad as a disease, but it's very uncomfortable and it's very inconvenient. The next one is pain, period. Guilt. Guilt seeks punishment. So if you have guilt, inside of you, you want to rid your life of guilt. Don't be guilty. Move and shape your life so that you are not in a state of guilt, or you will experience pain. And pain is definitely not something that we want to experience. It's very uncomfortable, very inconvenient, and It's very unfortunate. Okay. The next one is rash. Irritation over delays, rather. Irritation over delays. So that goes back with following your guidance. That goes back with moving up the emotional guidance scale. That goes back with understanding that everything is okay. Everything is in its proper place. You are where you are in life, and if something is delayed, you let the universe orchestrate it, and you get into your alignment, and everything will work out. Okay? So, last couple of things is sinus. You hear that all the time. People are talking about my sinuses. It must be my sinuses, right? We hear that all the time. Irritation to one person. So you can bet that if you are having issues with your sinuses, you're taking sinus medication, it was all the basis of that manifestation was irritation to a particular person. So don't be irritated, rather. Don't be irritated with other people. Learn to have patience and understanding with people. Okay? Next one is stroke. Giving up. It's pretty blatant, very obvious. When you give up, your body, it talks to you, it speaks to you. You're giving up. And a stroke starts a whole domino effect that can be very uncomfortable and very inconvenient for your life. Last but not least, urinary tract infections. Could it be that you were mad at your lover, or you were blaming others, and you manifested a urinary tract infection? And see, we don't associate those together along with all of these in the list, but I want to end with saying this, that when you look back at your emotional guidance scale, and then that's why it's so important to follow your emotional guidance. Follow your guidance and raise your vibration and eliminate most of all of this on the list. You'll be so more self-accepting. You look so much more beautiful to yourself, inside and out. So much more self-worthiness, right? You'll feel good. You'll be in the flow of life. You'll feel good about life. And if you just raise your vibration just to optimism and hope and a little bit of happiness, like I said, you'll eliminate most of all of this. You see? So it's very, very important for us to follow our emotional guidance and to really understand this premise here. Understand that we are creating everything. Okay? So, I hope this really resonates with you. I hope you like the video, like the setup, and thank you for all the great subscriptions, views. We are over 4,000 subscribers, and just spreading the word, and more people are changing their life, and they're sharing this great knowledge with me, and sharing their stories with me, and about how they're changing their life, how they're making their life so much better, just by applying these simple principles. So I hope everyone has an awesome day. Be inspired, and we'll see you soon, guys.